There are a number of productivity tips that I've found. Um, all of them have to do with Google Doc. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over them right now. If any of them don't make sense, or if you found some that we don't know about, please bring them to our meeting. Bring your questions and bring any tips that weren't covered in this, and we will refine what we're teaching the other departments. So the first tip is a shortcut. Let's say I'm working on something and I need a new Google Doc. I can just type doc.new, hit enter, and now I have a new Google document. That simple. So again, it was doc.new, N-E-W. Here are other shortcuts for other forms. Say I have a document, I want to make some changes to it, but I'm worried about messing it up. So for example, I was part of a PLC agenda earlier. So there's a couple things I can do. File, version history, see version history. So here I have who did what on what day. I can click through and see the changes, and you could see who did what, so you can see the color of the person and what they did. This is helpful if you're doing like a class thing. For example, I have a class PowerPoint where I had multiple people putting in information. I can go in and see who did what when. The other thing is, if I'm working on a document and I made a bunch of changes, but once I go to use it in class, it's not really efficient, I can go to the same thing, version history, and I can go down here and I can switch and restore to the previous version. And that takes it all back. The other thing is, let's say it's right before you're about to make a big change. You can go to File, Version History, Name Current Version. So I can say PLC Agenda before change. And I save it. Now I can go into my files, version history, see version history, and you can see that this version was saved. And if I want, I can click having to save 4 or 5 different documents and trying to figure out which document has what. You can just build documents on top of each other and just go into your version history to see what the documents were in the past. Let's say I typed some text and I had my cap locks on. Edit or format, text, capitalization, title case, and now it switches it to meeting. Or if I want it to be all upper class, I can use uppercase or I can use lowercase. That just helps solve any issues with your cap lock. Or if you took notes and you want to have the title of your notes be bolded and uppercased, you can do that as well. This tip is more for shortening your typing, especially if you use certain keywords over and over and over and over and over again, or if you type in certain URLs. You're going to go to Tools, Preferences, Substitutions, and here you can type in replace PLC with Professional. And then whenever I type in PLC, it changes it to Professional Learning Communities automatically. This works with anything you put in. You can do links, you can do all sorts of stuff. Also, if you have a link that keeps getting switched over and over again and you don't want it to be switched, you can just come in and delete it. So the other shortcuts include arrows, emojis, etc. You can insert a drawing. That seems kind of weird, but I use this all the time for my worksheets. So for example, let's say I have a worksheet where I want them to fill in certain information. Whenever I'm done, I just click Save and Close. And there you go. I have it inputted into my thing. If I ever need to edit it, I just click it and click Edit, and then I can go into the drawing and modify anything that wasn't working before. We have all learned about the URLs up here, that you can change this to copy, and the URL will be sent and force the person to make a copy. You can also do preview as this. So the person with this version doesn't have any options to mess with anything. It doesn't even open up their Google Docs. It just sends them a preview of the image that they can scroll through. You can add whole documents directly into emails, which I found useful with communication within my team, not necessarily with my students. But for example, if I wanted a person to view and edit a document and I didn't want to have them click out of it, I just wanted them to see it and get their feedback, I could do this. I would click File, Email, email this file. I can leave a message here. And then I would say, don't attach. Please include in current email. The other thing is you can attach a PDF, an open document, Microsoft Word, or plain text, but don't attach. So I'm going to say send. So here is what the email looks like. I attached the following document. I said, please review this. Here's the link to the document so they can go see, but here's the full snapshot of what it was at the time that I sent it. So what you do is File, New, From Template. And here you have a bunch of different templates that you can report from, including APA and MLA. Feel free to go ahead and look through these. Use these just to kind of shortcut a lot of the things that you have to do whenever you are creating something. So for example, let's say I want to do an APA format report as an example. I can pull that up and then I can show my student. It still kind of gives you a head start on that. Up here, you have your editing mode and your suggesting mode. So if you're working on a student's document, let's say they sent you the link just so you could edit and review, and you didn't want to do it through Canvas because you wanted students to have direct feedback on their actual document. You just have them send you the link, click suggestion, and now you can show you what happens when you replace. It will put a green line showing that you did it thing, and then you can add extra information if you feel like they need it. You can also do this in the editing mode in a sense. For example, let's say I want to leave a comment on something. I can highlight a section and I can do a suggested edit manually instead of everything being an edit, or I can add a comment and I can be like, is this the correct school? Comment. So now the student's going to see my comment and any replacements I did. Even though Canvas has editing abilities, students do have to go in and click into view feedback, and sometimes they find that difficult. So if you'd prefer, this is an alternate version. So I'll show you an example on Canvas. Let's say I want to leave a comment on this student's work. I can say, Please fix this. I can change the color. I can change the size. Right? I can highlight or draw. The only difference is I have to click this button, otherwise it will automatically delete it. I can leave a specific comment like this and leave a comment on the side. There's all sorts of things I can do in Canvas. However, and students can do for each other, this is the limit. When students go into their grades, this is what they see on Canvas, and they have to click this button. And then they get a tiny box that pops up that shows them their feedback. Now, they can enter full screen, but you will have to teach them to do that. In contrast, through their share button, make sure that you can, let's see if I add one of my teammates, Drought, you'd make sure that they are a editor or a commenter. You do not want them just to be a viewer, so you'd have to walk your students through that. When you add me to this, please make sure you do commenter or editor. And that will allow you to give them direct feedback on the actual document. You can also have them do that with each other. So when they're getting feedback from each other, you can have them email each other with their school email. This last one is probably the one that I'm finding the most useful. So hopefully you will too. This tool is right down here. It's the Explore tool. And what this does whenever you click on it is it opens up a tab and it allows me to look up anything. Now there's web, images, and drive. So I can go to my drive and I can see my hand outline content that I can open up. I can open up drawing hands, and that allows me to open up those directly from the document I'm working on without having to go and create or go through my drive. The other thing I can look at is the web. So here I can find a bunch of different outline images. If I need to pull them in, I just click on them and click the add button, or I click insert. And then it will finish loading the images into my actual document. I find this the most useful because I don't have to open up a separate tab and go look through stuff. And when you're done, you just click X and you're done. Hopefully these tips will be useful. Again, if you feel like you don't quite understand any of them, or if you feel like that there's some stuff missing, feel free to let me know and we will talk about that in the meeting. Yeah, thanks.